Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show. I'm Chris Damali.
And I'm Scott Biskobing.
Tonight, a few things we're going to be covering. The first thing, we're going to be doing the drawing for the Racks bow hanger, signed by Lee and Tiffany, which is here somewhere.
It is. I got it right over here.
We're also going to be discussing the impact of social media on the hunting community. Yep.
Got them right here.
All right. So, and also a few other things. We'd like to take time to thank all of our new followers in the last month.
Yep.
Thank you for joining and following our page. And a big thank you to Nick Munding with Munding Outdoors. This last Tuesday, Nick took a 2-hour drive out of his own time after work to come up to our neck of the woods to show Tim Yan and Todd Gillard with the Wisconsin Hunt of a Lifetime. They have some kids going out on bear hunts again this year.
Yeah.
And as some of you may or may not know, Nick Munding is the national, pretty much, I don't know what you want to say for Tactacam.
He's platinum level, so he's super active with Tactacam.
Right.
Let's say that. He's very, very active.
So he knows his stuff about Tactacam, but he took time out to come on up. Tactacam donated one of their cameras to Hunt of a Lifetime, so the kids can record the hunt. And, you know, some of us older guys were no good with smartphones, you know, idiots operating a smartphone kind of thing. So Nick took the time to come on up and show us how it works. And I do have good video of it. I'm just not good at video editing. So I will get that going soon and up on our page. But it means quite a bit. You know, when somebody like Nick takes time out and, you know, tries to make a difference in the hunting community. So thank you, Nick, and for everything you do for everybody out in the outdoors. It really does mean a lot. I wish there's more people like Nick.
Right.
Also, I'd like to, my glasses. Last time somebody complained and messaged me that I didn't say hello to them. That's because I'm old. You know, I'm in my late 20s. Shut up. And I couldn't read what's on the screen here, so I apologize, Cindy. So I got my glasses on. And, but getting back to what Nick does, you know, for kids, it's such an outstanding, I wish I would have had a mentor like that when growing up. Somebody to show me, you know, what Tim and Todd do Hunt of a Lifetime. Mm-hmm. I wish I would have had somebody like that in my life. How did you get into hunting yourself? I mean,
well, yeah, that's kind of a good segue because we wanted to take a little time here tonight. We've done our team member profiles with Elijah and Jason the last couple shows here. And tonight we thought we'd kind of tell you guys a little bit about ourselves here, your hosts here of the show. So,
the handsome guys.
Yeah, the good-looking ones, the bald guys. So I guess for me, I grew up in a family that was really big into camping and that kind of thing. We had land in central Wisconsin in the Necedah area. Mm-hmm. It was like a family property that my grandfather, one of my uncles owned, but everybody had campers. It was like our own little campground, like family campground kind of a thing.
Right.
So, you know, they had that before I was even born. So, you know, since I was just a tiny little baby, I was up there and spending a lot of time in the outdoors. Fishing wise, I spent a lot of my childhood fishing with my mom's father, my grandfather, on my mom's side of the family. We did a lot of fishing in Port Washington.
Right. A
lot of perch fishing when you could actually still catch perch.
Yeah.
Off the breakwater there. Going out on the boat with him. You know, he taught us a lot. Both my brother and I, a lot about fishing. And my dad wasn't really big into fishing at all. That definitely wasn't his thing. Although when he was dating my mom, he kind of alluded to the fact that he was into fishing. So my grandfather would take him out on all-day fishing trips out on the boat, you know. And my dad said he was just absolutely miserable, but he had to try to put on the front there to make it seem like it was something he was actually interested in, and he finally spilled the beans after my mom and dad got married. But so my dad really never took us out fishing a whole lot. That was really my grandfather's
That was true
thing.
love then.
Yeah,
Anything to be with your mom.
right. That's true. That is true. My dad was really into hunting though. He was bow hunting before I was born, and spent a lot of time in the 80s in that bow hunting, and I couldn't wait to get out there and go hunting with my dad. That was something I was like super excited about.
Right.
I remember distinctly before I was able to actually go with him, standing at the front window, tears rolling down my cheeks when he was pulling out and going, and just because I wanted to go with him so bad. And
Right.
and when I was finally old enough for him to take me along for the first time, it was just an unbelievable experience. From that point on, I was absolutely 100% hooked on hunting, and I lived and breathed it. I mean, so much that I would go to the library, go to the public library or the library in school and I would check out every book I could find. And there wasn't a lot out there in the 80s like that on hunting. But Leonard Lee Roux wrote a lot of books.
Sure.
So I would check out, I think I'm certain I read every single book that he has ever written or been a part of.
Right.
A dozen times each. I just was that into it. What about for you though? I mean, was there somebody that got you involved, or what age did you get?
Well, nobody in my family. My dad never. Well, he hunted and fished before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
His uncle or somebody made him row the boat and shut up. So that's why he didn't want to go fishing, and he had to carry the rowboat.
Sure.
He used to hunt with some of the area, I want to say cops. This is a story I always heard. And one of them shot his hat off his head.
Jeez.
So he never wanted to go hunting again.
Oh,
But
man.
my parents were really supportive. My dad would always take me. Well, the first when I got into fishing, so when I was little, 4, 6, and 12, I think were the only channels we had. Maybe channel 18.
Yeah.
If you had the channel dial and then like a UHF VHF
Yeah.
thing. Then you had to move the rabbit ears and
With the
one
foil.
leg in the air kind of thing.
Roll a tin foil.
Yeah. And I remember we'd go in and out, but I want to say it was like Babe Winkleman or somebody like that. And
Sure.
it was the coolest thing. And shortly after that, I'd always want to go with my mom to the store, and I'd look at the box store here, and they'd have a small hunting and fishing area, but looking at all the fishing rods. And I remember for my birthday, I want to say it was 10-ish, I don't know, I wanted an ugly stick.
Yeah.
That's what they were showing on the TV, and that's what I had to have. My birthday comes around, and there was something long wrapped in newspaper, but it was sort of bent like this. And I unwrapped it, and it's a stick from a tree. And I'm thinking, what is this? And my dad said, well, you wanted an ugly stick. There's one. He said, we don't know what you're going to do with it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, my parents are complete idiots, and just sort of chalking it up to misunderstanding again. And my dad says, well, why don't you take all the paper wrappings and stuff, take it out to the garbage. By the garbage can, there was the fishing rod that I wanted. I'm like,
Sure.
oh my God, I fell for it too. But
They pulled a Red Ryder BB gun.
yes,
on
they
you.
did. And so I was always going down to the Milwaukee River here, fishing, and drive my bike out to Little Cedar.
Sure.
Probably 8 to 10 years old here in town, and maybe when I was 12-ish, making the bigger trek out there. But
Yeah.
and then as far as hunting, it would have been a guy named Andy in 6th grade. He was always talking about it. I remember my mom telling me the story when I was a kid. We'd drive around town and the hunters would have their deer hanging out of the truck.
Sure.
I'd cry and say I'm always going to beat them up when I get older. Well, that changed when I got older. I sort of remember that, but I don't know. But with Andy, he was into bow hunting and the outdoors and stuff, and I rode the bus home with him, and he got me introduced really to archery. And I told my mom about it. We went out to this archery shop in town here, and my first bow was a Martin Lynx
Okay.
with energy cams. It was the big thing or something. Pretty nice bow, and I shot with it all the time. Started doing leagues, and I'm sure I thought it was better than it really was. But as far as going hunting, couldn't drive at that point, so my dad and my brothers would drive me out to the state forest. Be like 4 a.m. They'd drop me off. I'm in the dark and
Just out there by yourself.
yeah. And if it was raining or something happened, they sort of seemed to forget, to come pick me up. Or the one day nobody knew who was getting me, and I sat there all day, and I had to walk into Kewaskum over there, which was probably 5 miles, 8 miles, I don't even know, just soaked, because they both forgot. They thought the other one went and got me, and I was upstairs sleeping already. But yeah, but it didn't matter. I mean,
there was no cell phones back then,
and there was no cell phones.
You had to go find a payphone.
That's exactly what I had to do. And there were no houses in between either. So, yeah, that was my introduction to hunting.
Well, it's great that you stuck with it, considering all of
Well,
that.
right. There's just something always, like you said, you would go to the library and check out books. And the thing, when we were growing up, there was every book that was ever written about deer hunting. And any of you guys that are older know this, that there would be a section on calibers for guns and trick shooting and all this stuff. And they all started off with something like the most sought after big game animal in North America is the whitetail. Every one of them.
Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous. And even the magazines through the 80s, you get a magazine, you'd open it up, and you'd have 40 pounds of stuff. The tarot things in the magazines, the advertisements and stuff just falling out, and there really wasn't any content in those magazines. So
yeah, the writing was pretty scarce. Literature in general, there just wasn't a whole lot of it. That's for sure.
Well, and then how different it is. They thought they knew everything about this is it, and even yet today, when you go past a magazine rack, 10 best things, and how to get on deer now, and
it'd be actually really interesting to go back and read, page through one of those old magazines from 86 or something like that, 85.
Right.
And read what was in there compared to, what we know now. One thing that certainly hasn't changed is that the white-tailed deer is still the most sought after big game animal.
I know, but you don't have to write it every time.
Yeah, right.
No, so.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, going and getting those magazines and TV shows. What was there something you were watching back then that?
Honestly, I learned how to field dress a deer from Outdoor Wisconsin, Dan Small.
Sure.
And I remember the first time I heard him announce it, something, and I'm Dan Small. I thought he said damn small, and I couldn't stop laughing. And that's actually what got me watching the show. But that was, the outdoor show. But then you have Babe Winkleman and people like that. Not too many.
No, there really wasn't. Roger Raglan, maybe. I don't know when his show started.
Yeah.
But yeah, there just wasn't a lot of stuff out there. But it was also a time where, obviously it sounds like for you didn't really have that kind of mentor type situation.
I had the books.
I had my dad taking me out, showing me things, and how to field dress my first deer. In fact, to be honest with you, I didn't field dress my first deer. I think I was shaking like a leaf yet.
I got sick. I remember I did.
Did you really?
Oh, it was cold and the steam came up and caught me, and that was horrible. I think I punctured the stomach and.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're doing it all by yourself out there, I can imagine. How old were you when you got your first one?
Probably I think 13.
Oh,
13 or 14.
Yeah, I think I was 13 when I got my first one too. And like I said, I didn't have to field dress that one, but the next year, I had to. But so I was afforded that luxury of having somebody out there, kind of showing me the ins and outs. But I got so into it that I would say that, some years later, it got to the point where I was the one kind of teaching my dad things, because of how much I was reading and the different things I was, learning, that I was the one kind of teaching him, hey, Dad, you gotta you got to read this. This is a new tactic or something like that. Why don't we try to applying this to our hunting situation and that, and I think that's obviously continued over the years as well. So, is there a particular like hunting or outdoor story that really sticks out, like is one of your most memorable ones?
I think every time I go out, it's memorable.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't know. I mean, I remember when I shot this guy. Our decor is a little different tonight. You can see we have the dart rack hanging there.
Yeah.
That's why I was looking for the other deer. But when I had shot this guy, I remember I was out. I had read somewhere in a magazine that you can grunt in a deer by using a comb, like that,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and that's back when I had hair, actually. So, and I was just walking, butt against a tree, turn around, and, I was doing that. And on this ridge behind me, it's got to go up 30 feet, big hill. And it was just like you imagine in a movie or magazine kind of thing. This buck comes up, this guy, and he's standing up there, and the sun is just shining on him. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Very picturesque.
Crisp morning. And you could see he was lip curling. And, oh my God, I was just shaking. And he's coming down, and I'm, oh my God, this little thing is working. I'm just doing it across my comb. And I don't know if he was actually reacting to that, but what the heck, I was doing it, and then I stopped. And I remember this side started going too, and I'm just shaking and shaking. And I'm behind, we have a tree. I have a tree in front of me, and I'm trying to shuffle my feet in the leaves, and it's sort of a standoff kind of thing. And I know he knows there's something there, and I'm trying to peek around, and he's kind of, and I see the steam. Now I'm really shaking.
Yeah, it's like it's the picture that you have when you're sitting there. You're not seeing anything like what you're imagining. Like this is how I hope to see it coming in, and that. But now you're actually seeing it.
And I was living it, and I 20, maybe 30 some years old. And I forget how old I was. And he turned broadside and started going from my left to right. And he stopped with his head behind a tree. And I'm like, is that him now? Or is there another deer?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, it's too big. It can't be a doe,
Yeah.
And then he sort of turned his head left, and I could see part of the rack. And okay, it's him. And I'm breathing and trying to calm down. I took my shot, and it was a great shot, thank God. And he only bounded about 40 yards. Like he didn't know what hit him. Something scared him. And then he turned around, and he did that wobble and just collapsed. And even to this day, I'll be the first one to admit it. Once I see him collapse, I stop looking. I don't like the kick. I can't do it.
Sure.
I'm a big baby that way.
Yeah.
But as long as I see him collapse kind of thing, I'll follow him or whatever. But yeah, that was probably the most exciting. But I still get buck fever shooting doe.
Sure. No, I agree.
When you're sitting there and it's all quiet and you're not seeing anything, and you look to your left and, okay, there's a doe sitting. I never saw her, never heard her.
Yeah.
How do they do that? I don't get it.
Right. When you hear squirrels and that, you're convinced it's deer coming in. You're like, oh, that's a deer.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. It's a deer. It's a deer. It's a deer, and that. And then you realize it's a squirrel. Half hour later, there's a doe or any deer right there, and you're like, I totally did not hear that come in at all. How did I miss that one? I was spending too much time looking this way. Now it's over here or whatever. So yeah, no, I get the same way too.
What was your most memorable?
I'm gonna say it was probably my first buck. We were hunting in Necedah, Wisconsin, and we had sitting in a particular spot on public land. It was Nakusa Paper Company property.
Yep.
And my dad and my brother and I, my brother wasn't hunting at this point yet, or if he was, I think he might have come up that year, but he wasn't out in the field with us at this time anyways. And this is when you had to apply for hunter's choice here in Wisconsin.
Yep.
So you weren't just given doe tags, and then you had to apply for it by the beginning of July, and then you would get it in the mail if you were lucky. So neither myself or my dad had had a doe tag. We didn't get hunter's choice that year. And I watched 4 does come in on this one path, cut across from me, and they're like 30 yards away. So, what a bummer, we don't have a doe tag to take one. And I remember we went in for breakfast, because that's something my dad would do, especially early on. And I think this is something that's really important if you're going to take a kid out hunting for the first time, is you want to make that experience really enjoyable for them. You want to make it comfortable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest taking a kid out during gun season on an all-day hunt when it's cold out.
Right.
And just that's a long day for kids. It's a long day for us hunters a lot of times too, to be out there on all-day sits. So my dad, we would get out there, at dark, and then we would hunt until like mid-morning. We'd go back to our deer camp, and my grandfather and some of his buddies would be back there stoking the fire, and they'd have breakfast ready. We'd eat breakfast. We'd go back out. We'd hunt for a while. We'd go back in early afternoon, get a bowl of chili, go back out, and then hunt for the rest of the afternoon. So, I wasn't out there freezing my feet off or my tail off out there, just being miserable. It was an enjoyable experience. So in this particular hunt, we had just gone back out after breakfast, and I kind of adjusted myself to where I had seen these does earlier. I wanted to get a little bit closer and a little bit better position in case a buck happened to come out. Well, my dad dropped me off at one end of the property, and he went to go park, and I walked in and got to my spot, and my dad was only about 80 yards away from me and hunting a different direction. And I don't think my dad even got to a spot yet, and all of a sudden a nice 8-point buck is walking on that trail like right towards me, and head down, nose down to the ground. He's on the trail of those does that had gone through earlier, and I put my gun up. Now, mind you, I'm shooting a 20 gauge single shot shotgun, with just a bead on the end. I've got no scope, anything like that. I raise that gun up, and he stops and he looks at me, and he raises his head just enough that he's looking straight at me. He's covering his chest. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to bolt, So I'm like, I'm going to shoot him in the head. And that's what I did. I put that gun up. I closed my eyes. I squeezed that trigger. I opened my eyes back up, and there he is, kicking on the ground. He was dead. It was all nerves and that from being a headshot there. And I was just like, I was in complete shock, and I'm grabbing another round to put in because he's kicking. I'm worried he's going to get up, and then I'm yelling, Dad, I got one, and obviously he had heard the shot, and he's already coming over, and I don't know if I was more excited or if my dad was more excited.
Probably him.
And because he was pretty excited, and I think I was a little bit more in shock than anything. I was just like it was a nice buck, It had about a 17-inch inside spread, a nice 8-point. He was probably like a 3.5-year-old,
Not bad for your first one.
No, not at all. And especially hunting public land and that, and this was still in the 80s yet. This was right at the end of the 80s, so we didn't have the herds of deer like we do now here in Wisconsin. So I remember my dad giving me a high five, and he's like, we're going to party tonight, and just total elation. Definitely the most memorable hunt for me, for sure.
And you got to share it with somebody.
Right. And that's a big thing. I know, I've always been a part of a deer camp. Even when I bow hunt, I do a lot of solo bow hunting and that, but I do have a buddy in that. And there's always a big difference of when you have somebody out there with you, not maybe sitting in the tree filming, but if they're hunting another part of the property that you got somebody up there that, hey, if I shoot that buck of a lifetime or whatever, I got somebody up here that can enjoy that experience with me. If I'm up here by myself. And
help haul it out.
Right. If I'm here by myself and it's like the old, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, did it really happen?
Right.
So, but being a part of a deer camp during gun season has always been, one of the most important parts of gun season for me. I never get super excited about gun season in terms of the hunt itself, because I'm so much more of a bow hunter.
Right.
I mean, I enjoyed in that, but I mean, I get more enjoyment of my buddies that only get to come up for gun season, and when they get a deer,
right,
and our camaraderie back at deer camp. That to me, that stuff is priceless.
The playing the cards and back and forth banter, and
right,
ribbing each other. That's the fun part. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, a good friend of mine, we had actually a really good story about ribbing a guy, and that's kind of carried over now for some years. I want to say this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We were walking out together to go get. It was a really cold, windy morning, and this was during gun season. And I had texted him and I said, I got to go get some coffee or something. I'm like, I'm tired up here. I'm cold, and I just want to go back and get some coffee. He's like, you know what? I'll join you. I'm like, all right, we'll meet on the trail. And we meet up, and I said, all right, just make sure you keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you're gonna, keep it quiet. We'll walk out quietly in that, because you never know. I wasn't 45 seconds later, and we look up on the hill, and here comes this buck chasing this small doe down the hill on the left side. And I quick throw my gun up, and I'm like, I got the buck. He's like, I got the doe. And I shoot, and then instantly he shoots, and the doe comes running right at us. I mean, I stepped to my left. She ran like this because I'm focused on the buck.
Yeah.
I hit him in the shoulder, and he went down this way, and the doe goes running that way, and it just everything happened so fast, So anyways, we go over. He's like, "You want to go after your buck?" I said, "No, we'll let the buck go. Let's go get your doe first. I'll help you get your doe field dressed, and then we'll take care of the buck." So we go over to the doe, and he goes and finds it first. He's walking over there, and he's like going like this, and he's kind of shaking his head. And it's a fawn.
Oh,
it's a little doe. I mean, it's tiny, right? And he's feeling really bad. I said, "Look, it happens. That whole situation happened so quick. I'm like, it is what it is. Like, don't feel bad. It's fine." And then, like, it's still meat. It's just not going to be a lot of meat.
Well, right. Yeah.
Like, you'll get a few sticks of sausage out of there. So, anyways,
won't even make a tenderloin sandwich.
Yeah. That night, we get back to the bar that we typically go to, and they got one of these tickers, message tickers that you can program in there.
Boy, what did you put on?
And
there?
that I did. The owner of the bar,
right.
She's got on there. I won't say his name. I won't embarrass him in front of everybody. But it was his name. If anyone even wants to see so and so's dog, it's sitting on the back of a tailgate right off the driveway. I got video of it. I got to take video of this, so he got a lot of ribbing that night. But, that's, and then every year too, it's like, when I see a little fawn track, when I'm out there scouting or whatever, I snap a picture. And I'll be like, text it to him, like, hey, I'm already on the trail of this year's deer for you. It's just this little tiny, little doe, a little fawn track.
Look, the spots fell off
already. I know where your deer is. It's heading up this way. That's horrible. But that's some of the fun stuff about being out there, and with a group of guys or girls or whatever. Your own personal deer camp, and everybody's is different, and that's what
I'd like to do that again. It's just I was with a group of guys. Their parents owned the cabin. One of the parents passed away, so they sold it, and I've been on my own again. It's just, I don't know. I do miss the camaraderie for gun season, like you say.
Right.
Bow season, I'm sort of anal the way I hunt. You too. Scent control the way I go in. I pick up my feet. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't know. It'd be nice to have somebody. We're planning on going out on our own.
Second week in October, we're going to do a
group
team
hunt. Yeah. We're going to try some public land between the four of us. Scott, Elijah, myself, and Jason Schrader, and have our own get together this year for a public land bow hunt. And speaking of which, congratulations to Jason Schrader. He went on his velvet hunt this weekend.
Yeah, and an egg tag.
Yep, and he and his partner Bill. Right?
I think that's. I'm not sure. I don't remember now who he went with, but
they both shot some pretty awesome bucks. So
yeah, some nice velvet bucks.
We'll be posting that picture.
Elijah, I see you're on. If you want to post that picture of Jason's buck, here in the comments section, so people can see.
Why don't we say hello to a few people here?
Yeah,
Drew, howdy.
Nick had said, "Man, I wish I got started on hunting when I was younger." Nick, how old were you when you got started hunting?
Doesn't matter. You're doing it now, and you're teaching a lot of people now. But
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, we need more of that. We need people. We talk about getting kids involved in that, and that's important.
Yeah.
But so often it's hard to get those kids to stick with it, right?
Well,
but it's so important to try to get them at least get that experience so that they can make that choice.
Right.
What we need to do above and beyond getting children involved is we need to get our neighbors, our friends that have never hunted. I've been fortunate enough to mentor a few of my friends that never grew up hunting in that. In fact, my buddy Mike, who is probably my best hunting buddy, one of my closest friends, I think I got him started hunting maybe 10, 11 years ago now.
Yeah.
But he had never hunted as a child or growing up. That wasn't something that was part of his family or anything.
Right.
And now the guys, he's shot a few really nice bucks over the last couple of years, and he's just in it 100%. And I get so much satisfaction out of his successes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy that, I don't mean to call you out, buddy, but that he didn't realize turkeys could fly. Okay. And come to find out, there's a lot of people out there, if you're not...
Well, they're not great flyers.
No, they're not great, but they can fly. I mean, they roost in trees.
And they're the dumbest birds during gun season.
Yeah.
Sitting in the quiet woods, all boom, they break every branch and they smack down on the floor.
Right, coming down.
But yeah.
So, but yeah, that's something, there was a lot of things. I don't think he knew that deer shed their antlers every year. And so being able to mentor him and see how knowledgeable he is now and the ideas and the things that he tells me, now, like he's like, maybe we should do this or maybe we should do that. I'm like, hey, that's a really good idea. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, he's come so far over the last 10 years that, from a guy that didn't know deer didn't shed antlers and turkeys couldn't fly to, I think we should, this would be a really good stand location and because of this and this, So I get so much satisfaction out of that. So
say howdy to Steve Schwartz here. Jimmy Sweeney, how you doing, Jim? What is that? Tyler Schmidt, Andy Raber, haven't talked to you in years. Hey, Andy. Russell Hansen, Kevin Johnson, Drew, Mr. Nick, Cindy. Hey, Cindy. I got my glasses on this week just for you. I didn't say hello to you last week because I couldn't see your name. Sorry, Cindy. I've known Cindy since, middle school.
Yeah.
Great gal. All right, and then yes, Carrie, hello. And I think I'll let you do it. I'll let you get us, is that where we got to be? But, what's important, like what you were saying, is getting people involved. And that's sort of one of the things we wanted to talk to everybody about, or amongst ourselves even, is the impact social media has on hunting. So when we're trying to get new people involved and get kids...
Yeah, Scott Tim on. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott. We're teaching kids. I do hunter safety on and off, teaching it, not taking the class.
Right.
But, these kids are going through, and then they go online. That's how they're learning nowadays. And there's a lot of bashing of each other online.
Yeah.
Now, what you did with your buddy and shooting the small deer, that's between you two.
Right. That's right. That's
that's
playful ribbing.
Yeah. But when somebody says to another guy, you can't shoot that deer, it's only a spiker or a 4-pointer. What are you thinking? And bashing a guy like that, it's bad. It's bad publicity for our sport. We're continually losing people year after year, whether due to age or the ability to participate, but the recruitment of younger kids too. And let's face it, the younger kids they're online.
Right.
And they're seeing all these
they're
things.
reading these comments that people are posting, and I never will understand what people get out of belittling and bashing somebody. Where, how does that make you feel? Like
it's almost bullying.
It really is. I mean, does that make your pillow a little bit fluffier at night?
Right.
Is it keep that pillow cold on both sides so you can sleep better at night? That you belittled somebody about, the way they hunt, the animal that they shot. It's just, I will never ever understand that. And I know this is kind of a controversial subject, because people do have opinions, and that's great. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But there's no reason why you necessarily always have to voice those opinions.
Or publicly bash somebody.
Right.
Have your opinion, but...
Right. But
don't leave the guy or gal alone. Maybe they're proud of... Could have been their first year. Even if it's not, it doesn't matter.
People are at different places in their hunting journey or hunting careers, whatever it is. That for some people, shooting a doe, shooting a small buck is like, awesome. Right. Because they don't have, maybe where they hunt, they don't see as many deer. Maybe they hunt way up north or something like that. Maybe they don't have enough time out in the field, because of their jobs or health or all these different things that different variables. So why bash this person? Because they're proud. Obviously, if they're posting this, they're obviously proud of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be an idiot. You got to be a complete moron to not realize that. I mean, I'm sorry. Right. I'm gonna call a spade because this is something that really, really bothers me. I have my own personal opinions on certain topics, but those are my opinions.
Right.
And I'm not going if it's legal. If legal is legal. If you're out there and you're being ethical and legal, who am I to say? Right. What makes me any better than anybody else,
Right.
And it's not just, some of the topics that you see that create this toxic environment.
The type of camel, you're an idiot if you wear that camel, it's no good. The broadhead.
Right, yes. You shooting rage. Rage are garbage. If you're not shooting fixed blade, you're not this or you're not that or whatever. There's guys out there killing great deer with Allen broadheads from Walmart.
Yep.
Wearing Carhartt bib overalls, And
is old that for rubber me? Boots from the farm.
Right. Is that for me? No. Whatever works for you. God bless.
Yep.
Here, this is a big one. This is a big one that we see a lot nowadays in the archery community anyways. And that's crossbow versus compound versus longbow, instinctive shooting, and then archer guys versus guys that only gun hunt. It's like, come on.
Right.
Really? All right. I use a crossbow now. And it's not by choice. It's out of necessity. After my snowmobile accident a couple years ago, which I'm lucky to be alive for that matter, I completely destroyed the shoulder. And I'm no longer able to raise this arm above my head, and I was forced to to switch to crossbow. Do I wish I could still be shooting my compound? Absolutely. And the hope is that my nerves will come back and I'll eventually be able to get to that point again. But for right now, it gets me back out in the woods there again.
But even so, it's almost like you're defending, I shoot a crossbow. You shouldn't have to.
No, because it's legal. Right. Yeah. And if it's something that makes you more comfortable out there, that's fine.
It's gotten so many women, kids, people smaller stature, they can't pull back. Younger kids making good, clean kills. Not,
You get people that don't have time to practice archery all year round, and
they still want to participate.
They want to participate, and it's like, I can use a crossbow, I can get it sighted in, and that. But with that being said, using a crossbow isn't this. This isn't this easy thing. It's not a gun. People call it a cross gun. And that's something that really bothers me. And it's probably something I probably might have even thought about a little bit myself too before I started using one.
Yep.
When I first picked up my first crossbow, brand new too, brand new ultralight, Horton ultralight crossbow, right? So it's not supposed to be a heavy crossbow or anything. I'm telling you, I was so uncomfortable in a tree with that thing. I knew I wasn't going to be able to shoot behind me because I had to be careful of the limbs. trying to hold it steady. They're not always balanced real well.
They're heavy. You'll bounce around if you got to hold on.
Oh yeah, you're trying to hold on. I mean, and that reticle is just moving. If you're not using a bipod shooting sticks, or if you don't have a shooting rail, I mean, forget about using a hang-on stand.
Right.
You know, a lock-on or anything like that. If you don't have something, so it's not
even that. Let's just take the sights that have come through the years. You know, some guys. Starting off, I used to shoot instinctive, and then you had a couple of pin sights, and then somebody would start bashing, oh, pin sights, you know, you're cheating.
Right.
And now there's so many different sights and laser finders and everything else. I mean, every other week something new's coming on the market, and just because it's not your way, who cares? You know.
Yeah.
And that's your opinion. It's great, but.
Yeah, it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be a competition for one thing. You know, it should be the competition should be you versus nature, and how you choose to go about that. I mean, and it's the old timers from back. You know, when compounds came out.
Yeah.
You know,
in
like
the 70s, there was the same thing.
That was cheating too, and that you got all this advantage.
Yeah.
Look, guys. We're
still got to be there.
Right, you have to be there. You have to get those animals in close. These guys that sit there and say, oh, these crossbows, they can shoot over 100 yards and that. You know what? Yes, there's guys that can shoot bows
over 100 yards.
Over 100 yards, you know. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the norm, and that's what everybody who has a crossbow is doing. And honestly, if you think that, I'm sorry, but that's just stupid thinking. Yeah. It really is, because that is not. My effective range using my crossbow is like 40 yards. And honestly,
and I think that's probably
with my
furthest.
My bow, I was about 50. That's where I was comfortable. So I'm less right now with the crossbow than I was with my compound.
When I shot my compound 20 to 30, and that's about where I am with my crossbow.
Yeah.
Could I? Probably. But I really, honestly, in the woods that I hunt, I'm not hunting the fields.
Right.
I'm hunting woods. So chances are for me to get anything above 25, 30 would be a miracle.
Sure.
Unless they, clear cut it or, really thinned it out.
Right.
So, but even fishing. When the sonar started coming around years ago, I remember you had the flash finders.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they came out with, I don't even know what company came, but it had like the little fish on there. Well, that's cheating. And now you have the Humminbird where it actually gives you the pictures to the sides, and that's cheating. Where we would have gone out growing up and you line up the liney side with the dead tree off the point, and that's how you knew where you were.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of the same thing, different industry, different outdoors adventure, but
right. I mean, when you talk,
it's old.
Yeah, with technology, I mean, it's always advancing.
Sure.
All the different tools, and every single year, go to ATA.
Right.
Go to all these different trade shows, and that there's always new technology. There's always something that's out there to try to give the hunter an edge or simplify things, make things a little bit easier, lighter, whatever the case is. At some point, is it too much? I don't know. But at the end of
that's another opinion.
That's right. That's it. That's true. That is another opinion. Yeah. But at the end of the day, on social media, we're up against it enough the way it is out there, folks. I mean, between special interest groups, the antis, we don't need to be arguing amongst ourselves about
stupid stuff,
right? And it really is. Yeah. At the end of the day, like I said, does it really make you feel better?
Right?
Did you sleep better now, telling this hunter that the way they did something or the animal they took is inferior to the way you do it? Right. Does that really make you feel better? Right. Are you going to change anybody's minds on anything?
And the only thing you may have changed is somebody trying to enter the sport.
Right.
No, I don't want to be part of this.
You see it every time. People are like, you know what? I'm done with this page.
Yeah.
I'm not. This is
too much arguing.
I don't want to be a part of this kind of thing. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. For any of you watching or that may watch this on our page, if we find any of that kind of stuff on our page, you're going to get one warning only, and it's going to be zero tolerance after that. And your comment will get deleted. This is not what we're about here. We're about sharing your outdoor experience with your fellow brothers and sisters of the outdoor world. So that's your warning right now, guys. That's something that we will not tolerate on our page here. So Yeah, it is really unfortunate that, you know, you go on any social media. Here's another thing too. You get people, so you got TV personalities, right? And their hunting shows. You get so many people, they go and post their great buck in that, and you get people bashing them. Oh, that had been shot high fence. You know, the whole high fence argument all the time. You know, these TV personalities, they have put the time and effort. A lot of them have been doing this for many, many, many years. And they've worked really hard for the farms that they have and done the work. And there's no reason why we need to sit there and bash because they put the work in, or they have, you know, we all don't have the same opportunities that everybody else has, you know.
Right.
We're not all hunting properties in Buffalo County, private property in Buffalo County or Trempealeau County. You know, that's the way it is. That's life, folks. So to get down on a particular hunter, regardless of their social status, being a TV personality or whatever, let it go. Scroll on, pass it. If you have a beef, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. It's really super easy to just keep scrolling. Did we lose something here?
I don't know. I hope we're still live, folks. Trying to watch it on the monitor.
We're still live.
It just went all goofy. So, no, you're right. It's one thing after another. So,
let's see.
Who else is on?
Scott Tim says, I shoot smaller deer so my brother feels better about himself. Selfless, really.
There you go.
Nick Mundine. They also have multiple properties and put in hundreds of hours in deer management and food sources for the deer. They put in a ton of work. You're absolutely right, Nick. 100%. That's the thing, is this is what they do for a living.
Right.
You know, like I said, not everybody has the same opportunities.
Right.
You know, but you do at the same time in some cases. You know, you could work that hard to get to to their level, to, you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just because they're in a different place in their hunting journey or career or life or whatever, however you want to say it, you know, there's no reason to bash them because they are managing a great wildlife.
You know, I'm going to guess most of the people who do have big farms, you know, and then they do feed the supplements, you know, antler growth and all that, chances are they're not the ones bashing one another, really.
No, they're not.
Because they know how lucky they are to have such a thing.
Right, but they're working for it, though.
Scott Tim, 2-pointer, as in a spike.
Oh, he's replaying. Can I use a crossbow on a cow?
Andy, sure, if you have to, but
I wouldn't recommend that.
Hey, Chrissy.
Crossbow or compound bow. You still have to wait for them to come to you. I'm excited to be able to hunt with a crossbow, and you're right. It's not a gun. You still have to have skill. You do.
Definitely.
They're not balanced all that great.
No.
You know, I'm sure there's some better ones out there than others.
Well, the new ones are coming out. They're, you know, reverse draw and smaller,
these
but
ravens
still.
and that. But it's still, you still have to get those deer close. And I'm sorry, your average person, not everybody who has a Raven crossbow is out there making 100-yard shots, 80-yard shots. They're not. That's bullshit. I'm like I said, I'm calling a spade
bleep
on this. And
I'll bleep you out there. We need
we're keeping it real here tonight, Chris. We're keeping it 100% real. So, that's great, Christy. You know, get out there with that crossbow. As long as it means that you're out there
doing it,
that's what's most important. I know a lot of people are getting their kids involved in hunting into the archery because they're able to set them up on a crossbow, because they don't quite have the strength yet to draw that poundage that they need to make an ethical kill, so they're setting them up with crossbows. And
I know one gal, she had breast cancer and had the cancer taken out, and she was a big bear hunter, smaller stature gal, so when she would pull, it would hurt her. Hurt her chest. But she still passed all the stuff. So she didn't get the thing from her doctor saying, she could use the crossbow. And I don't think anybody should have to hunt in pain. There's some guys, we don't all grow up the same either.
Right.
Sitting behind a desk typing all day, and compared to a guy who's, drywalling or doing concrete, kind of thing, our bodies are going to wear out. Even the guy behind the desk might have bad knees. You don't know.
Yeah, just because you might be able to still draw back a bow doesn't necessarily mean it's not painful, or you're not going to be able to hold it for as long. And if it means then switching to a crossbow,
and I hate to say it, I start getting arthritic pains like in my knuckles. And when it's cold outside,
you are really
everything,
all
I know.
Dating yourself here tonight, aren't you?
I know, but to have that option. Some days, guys feel good and they can shoot a compound.
Right.
Other times, why should you have to be in pain? They want to buy both, and they buy both licenses or however the system's going to work at that year.
Yeah.
Let them.
Sure.
As long as they're outdoors doing something. So. I guess with that being said, let's look at some of this stuff here.
Oh,
all right.
Elijah said, sorry, guys, I don't think it'll let me share Jason's buck. That's all right, Elijah. We'll get it posted later on. And I'm sure Jason will put something together.
Jason's on his way home, driving home from the hunt. It's a 4-hour trip wherever he went. So, pretty awesome bucks that he and his buddy got. They were in velvet. His buddy shot one yesterday, and I think Jay got his today, like a last minute or... So
I forget exactly where they were, but these were agricultural tags. Russell was asking where did he get it. Stay tuned on the page. Jason will probably put a little something together here the next day or so, showing you guys how that went for him. But it's a great buck. Super happy for him, and congrats to Jason.
I'm a little jealous that he's already out hunting.
I am. I'm not gonna lie. I was telling you before, I'm a little jealous that I didn't go on this trip, but
and the nights and early mornings they're colder now, and the other day, in fact, last Wednesday or Thursday, I got my new Meyer trail cams in.
Yeah,
I've already got some cameras, and I posted a few pictures on our page, but. Got the new cameras. I've seen, the pictures Elijah has with his Meyer cameras.
Sure.
So I was excited to go get those out in the woods yesterday, and it was 1 or 2 mosquitoes only,
Oh, I know.
Oh, thank God.
Every morning I get up, I'm like, I should be heading out to a tree stand and that.
And what do we got? 3 weeks? 4?
Oh, it's like, I would say 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, we got Labor Day. Yeah, it's like 3.5 weeks.
3
Something
weeks.
Like that. It's coming up quick. I'm heading actually back up to central Wisconsin on Wednesday with my buddy Mike Thalen. We're going to be heading to one of our leases there. We have to move a stand.
Yep.
I hate doing it this late in the season, but it is what it is. We haven't been able to get to this particular spot until now, so he's taking a day off of work and that. And so we're going to head out there on Wednesday, check a few more cards. And I head back over to that water hole where that camera I forgot to turn on.
Oh boy, yeah.
And instead of having 5 weeks of marinating, it's going to be about 2 weeks. So I'm hoping, because that's such a good spot, and when I got to that camera, of all the cameras, that was the one I was looking forward to the most, because it gives you a good idea of what I've got out there in that property, because they're constantly coming into that water, daytime, nighttime. I've had hundreds and hundreds of pictures of bucks bedded right next to it.
Right.
And it's just, you get this time of year too. Now they start sparring a little bit. Some of the younger ones, they start locking horns a little bit, kind of playing around, testing each other out just a little bit, as they're starting to shed that velvet. And it's just, and not just that. I mean, the plethora of other critters that come to this water hole.
Right.
I mean, I had a family of like 6-7 raccoons going for a swim in this thing one day. Fishers coming down to it. It's hawks and turkeys and all these different things coming to get a drink of water. It's just I love going through that camera at that spot there. So hopefully, later this week I'll have some more pictures to share from that spot. So
Well, we're at about our hour mark here.
Yeah, we should probably, let's see here. We got Tim. My 13-year-old daughter shot her first deer doe with a bow last year. She's up to pulling back 43 pounds. She's dying to take a nice buck. How long should I make her wait before letting her take a shot at a nice buck? Should I make her wait or take a spike or let one loose at a nice buck if one comes by? That's a good question, and that's a question I've actually seen posed on other forums and that, like, is it a thing where, because if they shoot a really nice buck like
too
that,
early, are they going to get another one and lose interest? Or
right, because it's kind of hard,
I guess I would want to deter it myself, because if she sees it come by and I don't know, I guess.
Well, I know, Scott, I think, if I remember correctly, you're in Iowa. So I think you could probably,
Yeah, well, yeah.
You could probably let her take what most people would consider a pretty darn nice buck,
Yeah.
but maybe not the cream of the crop.
Right.
It's obviously a personal decision, but I think the build-up is probably a little bit better. Start out with a spike, a fork, something like that, a small 6 or something, and
hopefully one of those comes by first to help you decide easier. But
right. If you're confident that it's going to, that maybe every year or every other year she's going to be able to take a nice one.
She's 13. Then again, I mean, I don't know. That's obviously a personal thing.
Right.
I hate to deter anybody, and
one might say that you let her shoot the one that she gets really excited about. If a fork horn comes in,
sure,
and she's excited, and you ask her, do you want to take this one? And she's like, yeah, I would say, go that route. But that is a really good question. And I don't know if there is really a right answer. I guess I would maybe lean towards kind of building up to that bigger one, because, they shoot a really nice one. Sometimes that's tough to beat.
Well, and I shot a decent one early on, and it took me a good 10 to 12 years to get another one like that. I was shooting a lot of forks and 6s and small 8s.
Sure.
And that's all I had in the area I hunted. And then finally I got, a couple nice ones here and there. So, and here's Nick. Nick says, start small and let her shoot bigger ones as she progresses. Don't want her to shoot a 180 deer and not shoot another for 5 years and ever get discouraged. But in the end,
that's pretty optimistic there, Nick. I don't know where you're hunting that once every 5 years you could shoot a 180. I know I don't have those kind of opportunities, and I'm just giving you a hard time there, Nick. I know but I think I know what you're saying. Or I do know what you're saying, and I agree. Steve has said, I'm pretty excited for the season, and the freezer is empty. I hear you. My freezer's getting a little bit on the low side too. I've got some venison, some ground that I want to give to the owner of one of my leases, because they do a chili, big chili thing for the church in that. So I usually give them a bunch of ground venison for that. So I'm actually going to take that up there to him on Wednesday. So once that happens, yes, I've got a few ring bolognas in there yet, but it's going to be that time to start filling that freezer up for sure.
All right.
Scott says, or bad shot and screw it up. Yeah, that's another good point. But that's something that
part of learning,
right? But you really want them taking a bad shot on a booner.
Any deer I don't want.
Well, right, obviously
it shouldn't matter that.
No, it shouldn't. But it's a little bit worse if it's on a booner.
Well,
it is. You know it.
Nah.
We do.
I think on any deer.
It does, right? You're right. You always want to make a good shot on and quick ethical kill, but
Steve, let her make that choice when
when the time comes.
Honestly, point it out to her. If you start off with a big one, you may not see it again. She's 13. That's
right. I think my guess is that she something smaller is going to come in, and she's going to. If she hasn't shot a buck yet and she's only got her first doe, that any buck is going to get her heart racing and pounding, and that's really because that's another thing you see on social media a lot is people saying posting a picture of a trail camera buck, shoot or don't shoot. what would you do? Look, that's a stupid question. It really is. It's a stupid question to ask, because who cares what anybody else would do?
Right.
You know, do what you want to do in that moment. When that deer comes in, if that's not the deer you want to take, if it's not getting your heart pounding,
right,
then don't shoot it, you know. But if, I don't care what it is, if if that deer has your heart pounding and gets you excited, then that's the deer you should take.
As long as it's legal and you're doing it legally.
Every time. Don't listen to what should I pass this, or should I shoot this one this year? Or, you know,
and I guess in the end, I'm not out to impress anybody. I really don't care. You know, if you're only hunting to impress your buddies on how big of a deer you shot, then
you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Well, that's your reason, though. But
I think it's the wrong reason. But well, you're true.
It should be to impress yourself, for the memory for yourself. It's, you know, the camaraderie, the whole package.
You know, and I do take that back, because it's, you know, like I said, what I mentioned before about where people are in their journey. In that. And so I retract what I just said there about that is the wrong reason, because for some people that is the right reason. You know, they have the means. They've shot a lot of bucks in that, and that's where they want to be. That's their goal. That's great. You know, if it's about a competition for them, that's where they are in their hunting life, you know. But so
all right. So with all that,
what else? It looks like my dad's chiming in. If you have too much
hey, Dad,
don't forget about the guy that got you started in hunting. I don't know if you've watched the whole show here yet, Dad, but I gave you your props in the beginning of the show here. But yes, I got a ring baloney with your name on it yet. So
it's cooking upstairs, so you better get over here.
Yeah. He's up in Adam's Friendship. That's where they live. I think it'd be a little bit before I got here, but
all right.
So yes, what we should do now is go ahead and do this drawing here.
Once again, thanks to Adam and Rax Inc. For providing the where'd you put it?
We got
providing the bow rack, and Lee and Tiffany signed the hat and the rack.
And the racks, Lee and Tiffany from the Crush TV show. So I'm just going to list off the people who participated in this, and we really appreciate you guys doing that. We got some really nice things cooking here, some other giveaways that are going to be coming up here in the near future. But I'm just going to list off these names. We'll pop them in here. That way you guys know that.
So now what people did, for the rest of you, they liked our page. They liked Rax Inc. page. And then they came back to ours and said, done.
And that's what it took.
If you didn't do all three of those things, then your name didn't get entered. It was pretty simple.
Right.
So we will be having more giveaways in the future. Just follow the steps.
Yeah, and if you ever have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Elijah, we're not picking you. Sorry.
All right, so we got Mark McKee going in, Mike Thalen, Neil Wiegand, Steve Schwartz, Lisa Ryan, Sean Beret, James Sweeney, Eric Wiegand, Chad Silsby, Brandon Showers, Sam Zindars, Mitch Kaczynski, Russell Hansen, Barry Zimdars, Drew Biscobing, Todd Kleist, Dakota Wickline, Michael Schrader, Jamie Knutson, and Melissa Marie. So why don't you give that a good, whoop, get those back in there. Those are good stirring, and raise it up high so I can't gotta keep this 100% fair. Get it in there. All right, you ready? Okay. All right, what do we got here? Sam Zimdars is our winner. So you guys can see here. You guys can see that it's Sam Zimdars. So Sam,
we'll be getting a hold of you on Messenger.
He's a West Bend guy. Here, so
well, at least we don't have to pay postage.
Yes, you can come on over and get this one, Sam. Did it show up? Yeah. Yep. That's all right. So thanks again, guys, for participating in this. And stay tuned for some more. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Again, if you guys have any topics or anything you guys want us to talk about, feel free to leave something in the comments section there.
Yeah.
And head over to our Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor page and give that page a like. That's where we're going to transition this show over to our actual Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoors page instead of the community page. You will be able to catch the show. We'll eventually upload them back over to the community page as well. But we're trying to get some of you guys to transition over to that page as well. We're going to keep both of them going, as well as our YouTube page and Instagram and that as well. So once again, we appreciate all the support from all of you guys. You guys have been great. We've been seeing you guys share a lot of our stuff on other pages. That means a lot to us.
Spread the word. Yeah, that's great. I like it.
We're really trying to get this thing to grow. We're it's going to be a slow process, and we're learning as we go here. But we hope you guys enjoy it. Right. So
share your picks, whether it's deer, fish. You've seen a lot of Elijah lately. Some great videos. So thank you, Elijah, for all those.
Yeah.
Elijah's quite the angler on there. So
anything you're doing outdoors, if you're
camping
out there with your family camping, you're on a hiking trip, and you got some cool pictures and that, share that with us, guys.
Yeah.
It's not all about hunting and fishing either. So, All right. We appreciate you guys, and then we'll have another show in 2 weeks here.
All right.
So we'll see you guys next time. Always outdoors.
Later.